Jimmy Bond.
No Time to Die.
No Time to Waste either. We were the first in the world to go watch James Bond, No Time to Die. Premiere, world premiere.
Premium seating.
You get these exclusive gigs when you're
a big
world
deal.
famous YouTubers. But we've just been seeing James Bond, No Time to Die.
The final installment in Craig's.
Yeah, of the Craig era.
How many is there? Is it 5? That must be his 5th one.
So what was his first one?
Casino, Quantum,
Skyfall, Spectre, so the 5th one.
Yeah. And I guess he probably just is the best James Bond of all time. Pretty much just because, like...
Are we biased to that, though? Because we've only really experienced his...
I feel like filmmaking is, like, so much better than it was, like... in the 60s when it comes to action and shit, so like he's automatically just better than them because he can make better action scenes and just shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he's definitely the best. But
I reckon as well. But, like, that's probably also a reason.
Yeah, spoiler review. Are we doing a spoiler review?
I feel like we just have to. Yeah, you kind of have to with this one.
If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and watch this, and then have a chat with us.
Yeah.
But start us off. What did you think?
I don't know. I feel like throughout this review I'm going to discover how I really feel. Like, at the end of it, I'm left kind of like, there were parts I liked, parts I didn't, and I don't know. It was kind of just a mixed one for me. Definitely better, I think, than Spectre. And
yeah, we were talking about this on the way home.
I literally just can't remember a single thing. I was going to rewatch before this just to like kind of remember what happened going in. And then I don't know, I couldn't, just, that movie's just nothing really.
Yeah.
That barely even exists to me.
This movie was good in my opinion. I thought it was a good send-off. There were some things I didn't like that we'll talk about, but overall I thought it was a good send-off. Actually, it could have been better, but it was a decent little send-off for Craig. He obviously co-produced it, so he obviously had a say in how he wanted to go. So I imagine he'll be happy with it.
Yeah.
But
I feel like in the moment, like the scenes that really mattered, they did a good job of, but it was kind of just the build up to them. I wasn't really sold on as much.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the villain of the movie,
which is Rami Malek,
which is Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
What was even his name?
It was It was different language.
Yeah, the whole movie was kind of based around different language, but he was like a Japanese wannabe. He opens the movie
with that white mask.
Yeah, and like his little whole town and his little garden and stuff, very Japanese oriented, but I don't think he had any Japanese, like it was just kind of wannabe type stuff.
Chinese gardens.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought he was a bit of a weak villain. He didn't get much screen time, which we were talking about, probably like under 10 minutes.
Definitely, and I think that was the biggest problem because they kind of build him up, like by the end of the movie, he definitely should have been built up as like someone who is
a lot bigger than he actually was.
Yeah, and has more meaning to Bond. As opposed to...
Like, this is the last villain he's fighting. This is the villain he's going to die fighting.
Which is why, like we were saying, I thought it would have been a better idea if this is like the storyline you were going to go through, to have Blofeld, Christoph Waltz,
who's brilliant. He's so good,
such a good actor, and then he is like James Bond's main villain from like the history.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have James Bond go out, like he dies. It's a spoiler review, so.
He dies at the end.
So you should have had him go up against like his greatest equal villain, which should have been him.
A villain worthy of dying for.
Yeah.
I feel like what they were kind of going for though was like, he no villain is worth dying for. It's family that was worth dying for. But like, I still feel like if having a villain worthy of dying would have done a lot better. Yeah,
just because Rami Malek, he was barely even in the whole movie, and the whole thing was pretty much just people talking about what his plan was, or what he's doing. But like, he's not even there to be seen doing any of this stuff.
He's a paedophile.
He comes in, like he's at the very start of the movie to establish some kind of backstory between him and
Madeline.
And then
she was fit, by the way.
Yeah, she looks pretty good. And then he's in it for like another 1 minute scene in which he like,
reintroduces
his whole plan is it's pretty much the standard James Bond stuff, which is kind of why I'm like, just have Blofeld be like the final main antagonist.
Do you think there was a deleted scene somewhere between when he goes to re-meet Madeline and give her the poison. Because that was real cool. Like, there was no why I want you to do this. Like, we didn't even find out why he's wanting to kill Spectre.
Yeah.
Well, unless it happened while I was in the toilet.
No, it was because I think it was because her dad was a part of Spectre, so that means and like killed all his family. So then he was wanting to kill them all.
Okay, well that's fair enough.
If you haven't really been paying attention that much to the whole franchise,
was that while I was on the toilet again?
Might have been.
I took like a 3-minute pee break, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
But that was probably half of Buddy Malik's screen time. That's the problem.
So Malik his whole plan was pretty much it's just like typical James Bond villain stuff. Wants to eliminate the population with some new thing.
Bioweapon.
It's a bioweapon, and then you can like get specific people's DNA. And then so when you release it, it will only kill those specific people.
Yep.
So he uses it to kill off the remainder of Spectre, including Blofeld, who was in it for like
a few minutes,
and
3 minutes.
That was think of like how much you were captivated by that scene between like those two, and like I was so just like amongst that.
The scene
compared to the end.
The scene where he is like being brought out in his little cage through the hallway, and it's like the lights going on his face, off his face. That shit was so captivating. That
was representative.
That grabbed my attention straight away.
That was representative of like the magnitude of him as a villain. Whereas like you've just got Rami Malek who's barely in it, and then at the end, like it's meant to have all these high stakes, which I guess in the movie it does, but I just didn't care about it that much because it's like it's just another villain who speaks in monologues, monotone, slowly, and
with a shitty little accent.
Like, as just kind of just the same kind of villain that we've seen
Where was Malik
before.
even from?
I don't know.
The villain was definitely a average part of the movie.
It just should have been Blofeld because
it did affect it quite a bit as well.
Being in a film already, you've established some character,
the background between him and Bond,
and just those scenes together I thought was so much more impactful, like that one scene, than any scene between Daniel Craig and Malik. And they pretty much just relied on James Bond's family to make you care about that scene, and Malik was pretty much just the one doing the shit, but it was like who even cares about him really or what he's doing. Like I wasn't even really sure the whole movie what he was actually trying to do, and then at the end it's like I'm just releasing this to kill people. Like in my mind he shouldn't have a valid reason for killing the population. Like he killed Madeline's mum. He kind of just had a convoluted reason anyway. It was like, I went to tidy the planet and you just do it the same way as me.
That's just the most generic reason. I want to cull the population to like make it tidier. And
he was kind of making parallels between himself and Bond, but like I just he wasn't in it enough for me to actually care what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like so. Yeah, I don't know. It should have swapped it around. I believe you should have just had it be him.
Well, you mentioned Bond's family. We'll talk about that quickly. So Madeline. I don't actually know who she's played by. I'll have to figure that out.
Her name's like Leia Sado or something.
Yeah, it's French, I think. But you said she was in Spectre.
Yeah.
And they open the movie kind of with him and her, with Bond and her in, I think, Italy. I think it's in Italy.
I don't remember.
It looked very Italian. Yeah. And that's kind of where we get a bit more bonding between them. No pun intended.
But that was one thing, their relationship I wasn't really sold on by Spectre. They kind of just like got together and were together, and I was just like, yeah, sure. At the start of the movie, it's a callback to Casino Royale where he's like talking about Vesper, who was like his old, like, that was like the Bond girl for that movie, who I thought was the best one. And that's kind of why I was like, oh yeah, there's just like some other chick. But then they do address that, and I think they did actually, I don't know, like they kind of did make a good job of making me care about it, like their relationship more in this movie. But then at the same time, like they weren't even together for like the whole movie.
That's what I was. There is a huge jump. There's a 5-year time difference between the opening of the movie. Well, the second opening of the movie and the main story. So there is a lot of like untold in between sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which maybe if you had a bit longer to kind of develop them a bit more, like you kind of jump in, like you said, from Spectre, where they just kind of get together to then the main part
Like,
of the
how
movie.
long have they even really been
that's
together?
what I mean. Like, we're meant to assume that they're life partners, but we don't actually like really see that. We've seen them at the Inspector, and then at the start of the movie where they're on a romantic holiday in Italy.
Yeah, so when they were coming back together after those 5 years, it like made it seem, it kind of like convinced me that like they're meant to be together or whatever. But then I'm like at the same time I'm thinking back and I'm like, oh wait, but it hadn't really convinced me in the first place. But now it kind of is. But like didn't really even have that.
Yeah, people didn't age in this movie because Malik didn't age from when.
He kills Madeline's mother
when she is a little girl, maybe like 10 or 11.
But then lets her live because I guess she kind of represents who he was. Like
because he's in love with her because he's a fucking wee pedo.
Yeah, that. But like his family got killed and he was like
survived,
the child survivor, so he saw her and like let her live.
But then I was also just thinking like Madeline aged, but then Cyborg, the guy with one eye, didn't age.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bond doesn't age.
That was just 5 years though.
But still,
which I guess is kind of like,
like but then
Rami Malek from like murdering her mother when she was a kid to let's just say 25, 30 years later.
Oh no years. Way! Not
he's
maybe
50.
Like, who Malik's meant?
Do you not reckon he'd be about 50?
Well, I'm more thinking about Madeline. She was like 10 or 11, and then jumped up to maybe like in her mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s.
I don't know.
But anyway,
Whatever.
she gets pregnant, which is kind of foreshadowed at the start of the movie where they separate her and Bond because she like touches her stomach.
Yeah, because Spectre comes after Bond at the start of the movie when they're kind of on a getaway, and he believes that she's sold him out to them. So he's like, oh yeah, see ya, basically I'm
never going to see you
going
again.
our separate ways, but then Blofeld reveals that it was him because he knew that that's where he'd go, and she led him straight to...
From the kindness of her heart.
So again, that was him again, and then, like... And then he...
Yeah, oh my... That's him,
like,
yeah.
I was like...
He is the perfect villain.
I was like, all this build-up and shit, and all this personal connection that he had done. Like, he was the one who broke them apart.
Yeah.
And then he just dies because he gets strangled, and it looks like he got stung by bees.
Thinking more and more, like, he literally would have been perfect.
I know, and he just gets killed off like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was halfway.
I don't know.
It was quite early on.
Because he, like, the whole thing pretty much kicks off because Bond has to go to Cuba, and he's trying to recover this...
Fuck's a big booty Jamaican girl.
He's trying to recover this device, which is this, what did they call it? It was like Hercules or some shit.
Oh,
the DNA murder weapon.
Helandine or something.
Which was created by...
MI6.
Yeah, because they wanted to use it and then it got into the wrong hands, obviously, because, that shit always tends to happen.
Another thing, that Logan guy, I feel like for his importance in the movie, he just died, he got squashed by a car.
Yeah.
Like, he was supposedly, like, the link between, like, Spectre and Malik. And, like, he just kind of dies.
Yeah, and it's also just, like, another case of a guy who is working with James Bond turns on him as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of the same shit, which I guess, like, you kind of come to expect with the James Bond movie.
I fully expected a few people to return. I expected new 007, the black bitch.
Yeah.
I expected not M, but the other guy. His name starts with T. Tanner. I expected him to turn on at some point.
I can't even remember who he was, actually. But yeah, that part I kind of liked when they had to go to Cuba and he was trying to get the device and he had to team up with...
De Armas.
What was her actual name of the film?
I don't know if we got it.
I can't even remember.
I honestly don't think we got it. She was just like introduced as you meeting up with a girl at a bar.
Yeah, because Bond's originally working for the CIA because he's been out of the game for 5 years, which he's always... It's like Vin Diesel. Like, he's out of the game and then he gets brought back in every time. So he's originally working with the CIA and is partnered up with her, who they have
real good chemistry.
Yeah, obviously they starred together in Knives Out, so they've worked together before. That might have been how she even got the role in this.
I'd say so.
And like that, like them two together, there was so much chemistry, and their back and forth was like one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, they had like good humour, good action. That was kind of like the best action, probably the only action in the movie.
And it was so short lived as well. Because she was just gone.
It was
and she
literally
was like,
one
you have
act.
to call me again. And then but he's dead. So that can never happen again. But I don't know. Like I thought she was like for the limited amount of time, actually made me care about a character and.
I feel
bonding.
like if they didn't kill off Bond, she would have had another appearance.
Yeah.
Like, because he settled down with the family. Like, if this was just another Bond film, she would have been a Bond girl that he fucked. A million percent.
Definitely.
But no, I thought the chemistry was good. Like I said, that was the only real action in the movie.
Yeah, there actually wasn't that much action.
There was a bit of driving
kind of
action.
until the end.
Yeah. Even then, there actually wasn't that much. I get the staircase, but...
It was just a lot of just pointing guns and shooting. Like, it wasn't a lot of variety, really.
Yeah. I don't know, this movie was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, there was a lot happening and a lot of different characters, plot lines, and just shit all over the place. Like, you have, like, again, like, these two separate villains, and, like, I don't know, it seems like it's one person and that's someone else, and then... I don't know. It's just there was a lot to take in this movie, and I thought there were kind of directions that they should have gone to make it actually have more impact, and also just to carry over from like the previous movies and make it have more of like a linear story that's like continuing that you care about with like carrying over the villain.
Yeah.
Which they kind of do at the start because they think it's him, but then he's just killed off like pretty much nothing. Like
yeah, that sucks.
after probably the best scene in the film.
It sucks. The ending was really good though. It was really sad. I probably would have cried if I wasn't in the cinema.
Yeah, it was really sad. Like just to see him actually die on screen, I was like,
it is the end of an era.
It did definitely like impact me emotionally.
I got more sad at the end of this movie than I did at like Endgame.
I just wish that it had, because him dying was sad, but I wish
it had more meaning behind it.
I get
like more villain meaning.
Like they just bring in a daughter, I guess, for the end, just to have him.
Looks exactly like Matilda. Her name is Matilda.
Like from
the
Matilda movie.
The Roald Dahl movie.
Yeah. But they just brought her in just to have Bond care about more things.
Yeah.
And just to kind of use her as leverage in the third act.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as she was brought in, I was like, oh yeah, that is... Like,
it's going to be the ultimatum.
She's brought in just to pretty much so Malik can just use something against him.
And he has this little obsession with her, even though he literally, like, there's no way he knows that she exists.
Yeah, and he's like, Malik's trying to create these parallels between him and Bond, and he's like, we both love the same woman, and I'm just like...
We both kill people for the better of the world.
I don't really know what you're doing.
He fucking sucks, now that I think about it. He actually was a really bad villain. Yeah.
But he was barely in the movie, and just had another extermination plan. And
that was generic as fuck.
And I just
like it is just a typical trope.
Spectre, but then like he's dead as well, so it doesn't even really have like a lasting impact because it just kind of comes up and down in the same.
It would have been good
movie.
if they like kept Christoph alive, and like you could maybe use him again, like in a future film, because they're gonna do another Bond.
Or even if like Malik thinks he's doing all the shit, but then he's been behind it the whole time. That's what I mean.
Something like that. I mean, let's talk about that quickly. There is going to be another Bond.
Well,
we're 90% sure.
Idris Elba. No.
Henry Cavill has to be Henry Cavill, I think.
If you're doing it I reckon cast someone unknown, so then there's no expectation.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I feel like everyone's kind of known nowadays.
Yeah, but that's why you just get an actor who's barely been... Like, Daniel Craig hadn't really been in that much stuff before James
Hire
Bond.
me to be James Bond, the next James Bond.
Because no one thought Daniel Craig was going to do a good job, and he didn't. Like, just get someone who you can't have, you know? But wait...
I mean, it only goes up from here for Craig, though. Like, you think about it, Brosnan had his Bond, and then he went into, like, Mamma Mia. So, the next logical step for Craig is to go into the greatest musical of all time. But yeah, I mean, overall...
Mamma Mia through.
Overall...
Just mixed bag, I reckon.
Good romance, good... Like, kind of a good arc between... Well, no, good arc between, like, Bond and everyone else, except for the villain. I think the villain was really poor and just let it down so much.
Yeah.
Like, this movie would have been so much better if the villain was done well.
I just really think, because... You do have all these carrying over aspects of the characters and plot lines, and then just in the last movie to just have it almost be like an end game. You just have another character, like another villain, just come up just for that movie to kill off, to kill off Iron Man, and you're like, oh, well, there was kind of more build up with these other characters, and I cared more about if they had been in that
like
position.
if someone came and killed Thanos and then was like, but like halfway through the movie, it was like, I'll kill Tony Stark instead.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like to me.
What would you give it out of our rating though?
I'll probably just say not bad.
Yeah.
Like all the technical aspects of how a Bond film is made, I feel like you don't even really have to comment on, because it's like
typical.
You know it's going to be well shot and edited well and all that, which all that was really good. I thought all the acting was really good.
Yeah.
But it was just like they tried to there was just so much in this movie
that could have been done better.
I don't know. It just for his final film, like.
Yeah, I wonder if he's happy with it.
I don't like the way he went out was like
a really
perfect.
Good way. Yeah.
How he should have gone out, but it was just like I don't know.
Like I was saying to you on the walk home, like imagine how much better it would have been, like if him and Waltz were alive, like both alive on the island when he got blown up, like. And
you're like having these two like greatest adversaries like going out together, like.
Malik literally gets shot. He doesn't even die. Like he just
he's nothing as well. As Bond's like shoots him. You're just the villain who came into this movie, fucked me over basically, and kills him. Like the way he died was like representative of kind of how just there he was, just being another annoying fag.
Yeah, I mean he got the nanobots on Bond, but like I feel like literally anyone could have done that. Like to stop him from seeing Madeline and
you could have just loaded that into your bullets, like.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Like there was other ways that could have been done. Like that didn't mean anything that he did that, in my opinion.
That is 100% true. Like anyone could have did that. Like he was just the one to do it.
I guess
but like between him and Bond, there was nothing else apart from
the only
just
thing would
family.
be like, because he loves Madeline as well. But like I don't know why he loves Madeline.
Where did that even come from though? But then I'm not even.
That's fucking weird. He's like a pedo, bro.
I don't know. There was he wasn't even in the movie for like more than 5 minutes really, and I just didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, I like Malik, but yeah, this wasn't a good choice. Like he was a fine villain.
He didn't get anything to do more than what he was.
No,
given,
yeah, that's what I meant. Like the actual villain was a bad choice.
It's like every scene he's in, he's sitting there just talking about what he's going to do like this. Like I feel like there's so many other villains who just do that exact same thing, and it makes him just seem a bit more menacing because it's shot well. Yeah. But I'll just say, like, there were parts of this movie I really liked, but at the same time, like, almost those exact same things, there were equal reasons that I
didn't like it.
I don't know.
Yeah, overall...
It's hard to describe for me, but...
We'll give it a year, not bad, though.
But, like, I didn't hate it, but I just thought it could have been done better.
I'll probably watch the ending again and have a cry over it, because it actually was sad, but... Yeah. Don't forget to let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie, if you've seen it. If you haven't, go watch it. And,
if you haven't, we've told you everything there is to know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you thought of it. Did you actually enjoy it?
So you should definitely, if you're watching a spoiler review, watch the movie first, because then it's like, especially when we're reviewing it, it's kind of like all over the place, but you'll be able to follow that.
Yeah, this video will always be up, so go watch it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
R.I.P. Bond.
Yeah. Peace.